in myself so people will sort of understand that we've had a connection for quite some time now through Instagram. And I was trying to think how long it's been, but it's been long.
I was just thinking that too. It's like, I can't believe we're finally just connecting like this, because it's always, hey, Queen.
I know, right?
But I started on Instagram 2016, October 2016. So we've been connecting since then. Me, you, and
Yeah.
Punky Brewster. You
Yes.
like her?
I know. Where is she? That's a whole nother story. um, yeah. So 2016. Yeah, it's been a while, and excuse me, connecting so much so that I've seen the transition from your working so hard in your yoga. You're like light years past me, but I'm old, so I'm gonna accept the old shit. You know what I'm saying? And then
But
you did the yoga teacher training, and then your entrepreneurial baking stuff. So we need to talk about all that stuff. The first thing, though, I would like to see if we can chat a little bit about is how you got started in yoga. I mean, because I really don't know that.
okay. Um, well, I was new to Instagram because I was always on Facebook, but I wasn't really into Instagram. But I kind of jumped out there to see what it was about. And then, just scrolling, I saw one or two yoga pictures and I was like, wow, that looks nice. I wish I could do that. And one of the poses was like a seated compass. So you're seated and you just kind of get your toes. So it's not really complicated, but it just looked really, my words were beautiful. I was like, wow,
Yes.
like, I can't believe a body could do that. So I was like, I wonder if I could do that. And then I just went, on my bed and I took my phone and I took a couple pictures out with me mimicking the pose. And then I sent it to my sister and she was laughing. Like she had such a good laugh out of it because it was so weird to do something so strange because that's not in any of our lifestyle or background. So
Mm-hmm.
I was like, I saw then, with the hashtags, you click on one or two poses and kind of veer off into this yoga stuff. And that was actually like my first time even being aware of yoga or knowing that yoga was in existence. So other than that, I had no interest or thought about yoga or exercising. But see, at that time too, I was gaining a little weight. So I usually, if I gain weight, if I realize that I've gained so much weight, then I'll try to, not diet or fast, but implement a structure with eating and exercising so I can get to the weight that I want. And then I try to or incorporate, continuous exercises, but I started running at the same time.
Ah.
So running, since I'm doing all this sweating in the morning, and I was able to run at my client's home like before I started work because in her complex, it was a big complex. So I ran outside for 30, 40 minutes in the cold. It was in October. I ran every day for 5, 6 days. And when I got there, I would do a few poses that I seen. And I actually started with the yoga and heels with the three ladies, triangle
Yes.
muffin and yoga rocks. Yeah, so I started. That was my first yoga challenge because I followed the hashtag, and the first pose was a forward fold in heels. I was like, I could do that. I could do that. I could do that. I'm gonna do this challenge. Yeah. The next day was crow in the heel.
Oh.
And I was like, oh my God, I can't do this. I was like, wow. It was, but I took about 2 hours continuous practice that day when I was home, trying to figure out how are they even off of the floor? How are their knees on their hands? And I got it. I barely got my head off of the floor. My feet was all sticking out. My it was not in balance and alignment, but it was incredible. It was an incredible feeling getting off of the floor, being in balance with the heels. I took a picture. The pictures look weird, because of the background stuff. I have a little with background and stuff. So it's like I felt amateurish. I didn't felt out of place, but I posted it. And then when I posted it, and I got, the ladies, the hosts, they support you. So
Right.
everybody, oh my God, man. I was like, okay, I guess I'm doing something right. But it still felt weird. But I kept up with that challenge, and I got so much great constructive criticism. I got so much compliments on my poses, and that was my first time. So I just kept it going with the challenges and the host and stuff, and that's how I got into yoga actually. But at that time too, with the exercising, I realized like my core strength was getting better, and my
Yeah,
arm.
exactly.
It's like and then I was able to do it in my home. I had no teachers around, nobody in my ear to tell me to do it or to push me to do it. Just me on my time. I made a space in my home, put my music on, and I would just work. I wrote down all the poses. At one point I was doing 10, 15 challenges a day. So I would write down the poses. I would write down the Sanskrit name and the English
Ah,
name. I would write those down. I don't have like 8 poses. Okay. Then I'll put my poses in order, not knowing I'm just doing this on my own. So I was like, okay, we're going
right.
to go from easy to hard. So I set it up that way, but it was actually like a flow, but I didn't know that. I was just trying to do and get then I record, and you got to set your camera up, and then the pictures in the recording, and you got to breathe. And so I just jumped into it, and I was just learning as I go. Kino helped me out a whole lot with
Yeah,
the
she's wonderful, really.
yeah, she was one of the first teachers that I looked up on YouTube, because I would skim through some YouTube if I needed to see somebody show me how to get into a pose real quick. Then I'll see them and say, okay. Then I'll go and practice it on my own. But Kino, I would definitely always look her up if I needed additional or lengthy explanation of a pose. And
Right.
she was so impressive. And then I found Carmen online, See Yoga Life. She's online currently.
Right. Yeah,
I
wow.
her challenges, and every year I do most of her challenges. Right now, I've slacked up a little bit, but I'm trying to get back into it because she introduced me to so many different poses, one pose in different styles, and she does challenges every month continuously, and each day builds up to the final pose and the pose sequence. You can all flow with it. So I just got so much knowledge with her as well. So, and that's why I just kept going, and then getting the followers, getting the likes, getting the comments, that kept me going. I was like, yeah, I guess I'm in the yoga squad. I felt like a beginner for so long, but people was always telling me nope. But I always felt like a beginner because I didn't know the study, I didn't do the meditation. I just wanted to do the poses and the challenges, and gain the strength. So
It's interesting because, first of all, you mentioned Carmen. I think I did one of her challenges, and I said, "Oh, girl, you are not ready. you are not ready." But I think some of it really is not some. A lot of it is about you can limit yourself in your head about what you can do, and I think that happens for me a lot. As
yeah,
opposed to saying, "Well, give it a try." Nobody is perfect, and you're not going to be perfect, and it's okay that you're not perfect. Um, and Kino, before we moved, when we moved from the west coast of Florida to the east coast of Florida, and her studio is in Miami, and I went to one of her free. She would do these free, pre-COVID, of course, these free Saturday, or they were in the evening, and they were at the Miami Design District. And I was like pretty much hooked on her her style, and you get I got a little afraid of watching, going, I don't even know why you think you can do this with and I really have to stop that. So I really appreciate you saying that, because you've stuck with, I want to say, there are some teachers, yoga teachers, that are, and not just advanced in the physical asana, but they, it's the whole ball of wax. And I see both of them that way, actually. Maybe Kino a little more than Carmen, but I pay attention to Kino a little more than Carmen. But nonetheless, I think it's important to, if you're going to advance anybody, if they're going to advance in the practice, if you don't challenge yourself, you're only going to go but so far. You're going to find yourself doing the same things over and over. You can only perfect it about so much. And either you're going to, take that forward fold where you cross your leg and you're in figure four into an arm balance, or you're not. You know what I mean? I say that because this morning I tried to do an arm balance. It's good that I had a nice cushy mat. Because I'm like, woo, this butt and everything ain't these arms ain't holding that. Not in that way. So I really appreciate you saying that. And then you decided to do yoga teacher training. When did you decide to do that?
Well, I did that. I graduated last year, August, which is 2021. So I started that summer, but I just seen an advertisement. I actually saw a couple of advertisements, and they were specified to Black yoga training. And also I was already asking, or I got compliments from other people just out of the blue in my messages. You should be teaching. I see teaching in your future. And, I'm like, my mind was not even there. But the commercials, and then I had the financial stability to actually afford the classes, because even before it was like, how will I even find that money? But I was just in the position to be like, you should just do that, because I get too much messages, too much compliments about my yoga practice. So I just try to listen to those positive, especially since I don't give myself positive affirmations.
Yeah,
I'm all right. I'm fine. I can do a little thing, but I'm not gonna hype myself up like how folks hype me up. I just, I don't really feel like that. I feel like I have so much more to learn and so much more to grow. So, and then I did understand that when I started taking the classes, I saw the things that I was missing in the practice, because I was missing a lot. I was just doing yoga for the poses, the asanas. I wasn't doing it for the being truthful, or the breathing, the meditation.
Right.
Around it too. So it's a whole study behind of it too. But yeah, so I graduated in August with my teacher's training, 200 hours, and I was able to teach with my teacher's training this year, as they work with new students. So I've been teaching on Friday. So the student became a teacher.
There you go. And it is kind of how it should be. And the teacher remains a student. You know what I'm trying to say? Because what I have found over time, and some of it is about searching and understanding, and I don't even know how to say it. Like these light bulbs pop. And it's like, oh, so that's why breathing is important.
That's that aha that Oprah be talking about.
Yeah. It's like, oh, when I really, really am in the zone, so to speak, and I am paying attention to my breath, things are so much easier. And there are times when I've always been the kind of person, like when I'm upset or angry or whatever it is, I hold my breath. And I never really recognized this. Like I get pissed, I probably can hold my breath for 5 minutes. I get angry, and some friend would say, "You are not breathing." I'm like, "How am I living if I'm not breathing?" You know what I mean? Like, I'm all agitated and stuff, but I don't breathe. You breathe shallowly. You know what I mean? And I recognized how much or how important pranayama was to my being able to, let's just put it this way, get my shit together, pull myself back together so that my head is just not like, you know. And it's taken me a long time to sort of recognize that. I started yoga with meditation, not even knowing that it was part of yoga, honestly. I mean, who knew? I just knew that I needed to calm my jets. I was just one of these people, was like, I didn't care if a boss was going to say something to me. I didn't care. I was, it's like, hey, you can take this job and shut up. I don't really care. That was me. It was like, you can't be doing that if you're going to make a living. You can't be just mouthing off at people like that. It's like, I'm sorry, I don't need this job. Now I was lying because I needed the job. I needed the job. And it was like, you need to learn how to lower your flame just a little bit. Sound familiar? Yes.
I'm still in the process. So it's funny because, people who know me from yoga, they just automatically assume that I'm Zen.
Yeah.
Don't get fooled by the 10-second video on Instagram and assume that I'm Zen. I'm still working on it.
Yeah, exactly. It's like, sometimes I have to pull out all the tools, and I often forget. I will often forget. I'll get so wrapped up in the emotion that I forget that you have these tools to get yourself, get a grip, because you're not, this is not a healthy way to function. It's not healthy for you or anybody around you. And so, as long as I've been doing meditation, I mean, believe me, I've changed tremendously. But I still have a long way to go. I still have a long way to go and say, you know what? Are you really breathing? No, you're not. You're not breathing. Just take a minute, go grab a crystal, go grab something that's going to ground you, use your tools. And in this day and age, for us in particular, as women of color, needing to have those tools are so paramount. You know what I'm saying?
Yes.
You
So
know,
we don't do actions that people expect from us and try to point fingers because this is how we act.
yes, yes,
So
exactly.